Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the EEARSS podcast produced by Terrier TV. I am one Alligator Rob. Mr. Curtis, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
It's been a great week.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Anything crazy going on your side?
Oh, yeah. Well, graduation is in 2 days. And
when I pulled up today, you had a twin.
Yes. I had a student who was me for the day. And
There were legitimately some comparisons. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
He dressed the role. I was going to dress as him. I was going to, wear cargo shorts and all of that. But I had a sneaking suspicion that he wasn't going to show up. So
yeah, that was.
I then didn't want to be dressed like that.
That is a legitimate possibility with him, is it not? Yes, I know. Dag nabbit. It's the first time in a long time I forgot.
And in front of people that you know.
Yeah, I do know
That's
those people.
terrible.
You ready to get into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we are joined today on the podcast by Gator Bill and the original Frank, my pop. How's it going, Pop?
Good.
Uncle Bill, how are you?
Not bad.
He always does that.
Is he always punching you?
Yeah.
Is it something that carried over from a long time ago?
He's trying to keep me awake.
Oh, okay. There you go. So you guys, let's talk about the Rob family a little bit. Y'all, the Robs came up here from Miami, right? So tell us about the Miami times.
Well, I did confide into you that a lot of those things are classified, and then that's the first thing you get into.
Yeah, well, we figured
That's
we
right.
might as well just jump right into it.
Yeah,
We want your serial number, your rank.
right.
all of
Well,
those
I
things.
have several. I'm allowed 7 by law, so yeah, it's cool. Frank, do you want to stop? You want to start over and stop me, or you want to
No, you're
get
doing
into
good.
it?
Continue on, Bill.
Well.
Keep going.
We grew up in Miami when it was kind of a rural place, if you can imagine. People say, well, you're definitely unbalanced if you think that Miami was rural at any time, but it really was. There was the wild forever. I mean, we didn't have to strike out too far from the house, and there was plenty of everything there that was supposed to be there, okay? Of course, that changed rapidly, but when you're a pre-adolescent kid in an area like that, you get to enjoy the real Florida. And our mom and dad, they made sure that our connection with animals was solid. Okay, neighbors didn't like it much because we were in a suburban area. Dad was lucky enough to pick this house that there had been a feud by the 3 neighbors for years of how they were going to divide it and add it to their property. So the guy that owned it got tired of it, and he built a house right in the middle of it. So here's some people with 4 boys, born within 5 years, 4 stair steps. And they got coons and rabbits and snakes and rats and all that good stuff, And they didn't like it much. Remember Sandy? We had this police-trained dog. It was half Dane and half boxer. That was a dog, I'm telling you. Dad built this 6-foot fence, used 8-foot cross arms and hardware cloth. Of course, they got ticked off about that because it wasn't, the typical chain link, but before neighborhood codes, okay? They just complained a lot. And had a Cocker Spaniel next door, and for all you Cocker Spaniel fans out there, they're one of the bitingest dogs there are. That's not my idea, okay? I know that. Frank Jr. knows that I have a plethora of different dog bites.
I remember walking to the front door of a place on Merritt Island one time that had a pair of Cocker Spaniels, and you knocked, and they answered, and they specifically told you their dogs didn't bite, and then immediately they bit you. Yeah, I remember that very well. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you shook your leg, and one went flying that way, and one went flying that way, and yeah. Anyhow, sorry.
They never do that. Oh.
Anytime
okay.
somebody tells you their dog never bites, you seem to always get bit. It's one of those kind of things.
Watch it. Well, when this Cocker Spaniel, of course, 4 boys, you're going to get out there and tussle. You're going to wrestle, yell, play. Dad helped us build a pillbox out there. We had a bunker in the backyard, okay? He built us a little house, and then dug a big hole, and we put it down there and covered it over, and we had an entrance. We could drop down in there, okay? It was awesome. Anyway, the neighbor's Cocker Spaniel didn't like it when we were in our own yard. And Sandy didn't like it when the Cocker Spaniel spoke ill of us, okay? So she'd go over the fence and not mangle the dog, which would have been easy, but get it by the scruff of the neck and just hold it down, you know, while the neighbors hemorrhaged. I think it was only fair, but the day came we had to get rid of Sandy because they came out there and they tried to break it up, you know, and tell her she was a bad dog. The guy had a stick, so it kind of went the wrong way. I won't mention his name because I'm sure his descendants would be very offended. But yes, we had to take Sandy back. And so we supplemented her absence with other things, didn't we, Frank?
Yeah, we lived across the street from Westview Country Club, so we were always on the dog leg where they'd slice it over the fence and we'd sell the balls back to them. They didn't like that.
You'd go. You actually. You'd wait till they hit it in the yard, or you'd actually go out there and grab their balls.
No, they would slice
over
the 6-foot fence, and they couldn't jump the fence, so we were over there and we'd grab the balls, and if they didn't buy them back, we'd run off with them.
Yeah. Our brother Charles was the best at that. Of course, he'd give them a few choice words too to encourage them. You'd be surprised. A lot of people with cleats on can get over a 6-foot fence like nobody's business. Okay. I hate to mention that part because it says, boy, yeah, those guys grew up on a golf course community. No such thing, okay? We were the bane of the golf course. That's why they put up the 6-foot fence, okay?
Yeah.
Gee, as we got older, we realized we're living across the street from the grandest party place. How did this happen?
Yeah, the people used to party out there too.
Oh,
right.
you bet. You bet. So,
Didn't you tell me some famous people occasionally came through the golf course?
I think we met Bob Hope one time. Got his autograph and some pictures.
Did you steal his golf ball?
No, we didn't.
No?
He didn't. He stayed on the fairway. He didn't slice off.
he was great.
Yeah. Who was
He
with
had
that
time
day?
for everybody. I forget, but gee whiz, we always hoped that we see Jackie Gleason come by, but that didn't happen. But he was around, you know.
Yeah.
And we used to get a mask and dive for the golf balls. We never encountered any animals or anything, but it was brackish water, so you would feel the bottom and get a whole bag full of balls.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have to find them by braille.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
is that where all the reptiles stuff started? Was about that same time, or was that before even that?
That was before even that.
Well, we grew up. Where we lived before that was called Alligator, which I'm still not clear if it's Seminole Indian for alligator or crocodile or maybe both. So we grew up in Alligator. I think I was 6 years old and in the first grade. And when we didn't traipse around outside, we had the front porch we were on at nighttime, okay? And I remember Dad came home one night and he had a balled up t-shirt with him. I didn't know what that was all about. And he said, "Hey boys, I got something to show you." So he untied a knot in his t-shirt and set it down and went in the house and closed the door, and I heard it go click and he locked it. And my mom said, Bill, what's going on?" My dad's name, Bill. And he said, "No, just shh, watch. And we stopped what we were doing and we were kind of transfixed. Why'd you leave a t-shirt and then lock the door? About this time, this shiny black thing started coming up out of there and kind of looking around.
You remember this, Pop?
No, I don't think so. No.
He was too busy scrambling trying to get out of there. We all were, you know. It's a wonder we didn't go through the screen. But it was a whopper of an eastern indigo snake. Dad had gone to Bill Haas Serpentarium to get us a snake, and some boys came in with this indigo, and this is long before people realized that you could possibly run out of any species. They're just patriarchal concepts of wildlife is always going to be there. Anyway, when we measured this indigo snake, it was 7 feet 4 the last time I finished measuring it. I remember to get him straightened out and do that was an accomplishment because he's just like a big steel spring. He started getting scared too. When indigos get frightened or angry, if they're going to do personal combat with another indigo, or they're going to do a mating dance, they compress their neck laterally like a moray eel, and then they begin to strike with an open mouth and knife their opponent, and their teeth are very sharp and can really cause some lacerations. So anyway, he came up out of the bag and did that, and I mean, I don't know if we were howling or screaming or what, but we didn't want any of it. I heard my mom, I don't think she was smacking Dad, but she was fussing at him pretty hard. So he went out there and took hold of it. Oh, it also musked, and if you don't know what that is, well, good for you, because it'll catch you unawares. They'll let off a noxious, pungent odor that it will cause a predator like a bobcat or something to stop and roll around in it, affect them like catnip. It's very heady chemical cue there. Anyway, Dad got a hold of the snake and it calmed right down, and Mom fussed at him about it for a couple of days, and then we found out that it was a gentle giant snake. It was beautiful, and we had it for a few years. When we moved to that community we were talking about before, you'd think if you're a young guy coming up and you got 4 boys, you got the ultimate yard crew, right? Well, not if you don't have a good stick or a whip, okay? Because boys don't want to do yard work, okay? But Dad kept an immaculate yard. It was always weeded. He built a beautiful picket fence. That's not, you didn't go to Lowe's and buy it, okay? He cut all the pickets and primed them and painted them and put together this beautiful fence. He brought home a bunch of cuttings. You can still get cuttings to make a hedge if you curb shop, okay? That's how we got ours. So we had a beautiful croton hedge. Dad would buy a few pieces of sod every 2 weeks on payday and cut them into sprigs and sprayed the yard. Well, before you know it, we had a beautiful lawn. And Dad got one of those color wheels that you'd put in front of the spotlight that does this, okay? Some people might remember them from Christmas time, okay? This is pre-digital, of course, way pre-digital. And run the oscillating sprinkler in the front yard and let Joe, our indigo snake, out into the yard. The snake would get out in that up periscope and rock back and forth, okay? So all these droplets of rainbow colors all over the snake, and I mean, if it was very hypnotic. The neighborhood crowded around the front yard when the snake was out. Of course, they hated it, they feared it, but they were mesmerized, okay? It was controlling them. They didn't even know it. Oh, how horrible, those poor little boys, if they only knew.
So that's where it kind of all kicked off.
Well, for me it did. Yeah.
What about for you, Pop?
The snake didn't even want to crawl away, did he?
No, it was his thing, okay?
It was
Maybe
odd.
not being a performer, but he enjoyed that time with us, okay? It happened to be a center of attention. I understand snake worship, okay? Doesn't mean I'm going to hug and kiss poisonous snakes or convince somebody else to be a snake worshiper. But when somebody says, you better watch it, Bill, you know, you're on the verge of being a creature worshiper. And I said, yeah, but I'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about for you, Pop?
Oh, I just, like Bill said, we had those varmints, raccoons and rats and snakes, and just through the years we've just collected them. And I know once we moved up here in 1970, you could go out and find a snake or a frog or something jumping on the road. So over the years working in the woods and everything, I've found them and learned to appreciate them. Rather than pick them up and put them in a bag, usually I just watch them crawl across the trees, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
So you were talking about Grandpop a little bit. Whenever you guys were down there in Miami, what was he doing for a living?
He's working with the power company as a meterman, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Installing the meters and adjusting the meters for the
Right.
Florida Power and Light.
So whenever you guys were, growing up, did you guys have any aspirations of what you wanted to do, based on what you ended up doing?
Not really. Did you have a direction for that? I really didn't.
No, not for quite a while later. As I grew up, I thought maybe I wanted to be involved in some type of wildlife conservation or something like that, but I didn't realize that until years later when myself and my wife Maggie were selected to be reserve game wardens. And I know the powers that be now, they don't like you referring to wildlife officers as game wardens. It was taken in good stride back in the day, and it wasn't any kind of denigrating remark or anything. Now they all prefer to be called law enforcement officers, I understand. So anyway, we got selected for that, and too many other things were going on. That's when Dad's health started getting the better of him. And to be a volunteer game warden cost a lot more money for uniforms, physicals, and things that we even had. So U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service took a chance on me, gave me a couple of uniform shirts, told me to get my own khaki breeches, and started doing educational programs out there at the Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge, which is one of the greatest natural resources we have here locally, and it's a shame more people don't take advantage of it. And I kind of slipped in the back door with the state. I became nuisance alligator agent for Florida Fish and Wildlife's law enforcement division. This was quite a while ago. And got to meet a lot of the old fellas that caught gators in secret. Some suggested maybe they shouldn't have, but some of them used it to help finance their grocery bill, maybe help send their kid to school, things like that. So even though it was had recently been designated as a crime to poach alligators, there was still a huge market for it throughout the eastern United States seaboard and over to Europe. These people, they weren't bad people. They probably had other jobs, or they worked cows or something like that, and this is something else they did. So I got to learn from them, and early on people said, well, you're just a poacher with a license, okay? Nobody ever sees a poacher, okay? A poacher is a person that's familiar with wildlife, and they know how to keep a secret. Anybody that grandstands, and Frank and me have seen enough of them that think, well, what those guys do ain't so hard. Anybody can do it, okay? Well, anybody can, but are they successful? Are they doing it out of criminality, or are they doing it out of a need? So a lot of people resented the fact. I was a member of the Central Florida Herp Society for quite a while, and met a lot of really nice people, but they kind of turned on me when they found I was doing that. Not only was I working for the man, but one of my jobs was to put alligators down, and the fact that somebody that loved alligators was doing it didn't seem to make much difference to him, okay? It was I think it was one of our, the commission now calls people that complain about alligators customers, okay? Well, one of the customers told me that what I did was a sin against God and its whole creation. And I said, okay, you're welcome. It wasn't too long after that I had to go over there, and this woman's big red tabby cat had got caught by an alligator. She could talk outside the other side of her mouth real well too, okay? I was just a wonderful person to come there, and we think Fluffy's okay. She's been out there doing a side stroke for quite a while. Well, that's just because the alligator had hold of her under the water, and she just seemed like she's, tell me she's going to be all right. I said, well, it's not within my power to tell you that, okay? but I wish you'd let us do what we needed to do sooner. So that's, a pet, that's one thing. To some people, that's tantamount to losing a child. Really, I'm not trying to convince you, you know what I'm talking about. When the worst things happen, nobody can get there or do anything fast enough. And then whoever does take care of it, they have to be able to live with what they did. So somebody wrote an article about me several years ago and said, Trapper Bill has change of heart. Because I spoke my mind about the whole thing. I don't hate alligators. The last thing I want to do is get rid of alligators. What a sad place it would be, without alligators. But they're convinced if you express that you have a heart or you care about something, okay, well, he's not a monster anymore. Praise God.
Hey, Pop, so you were saying you went to high school here, right?
Yeah, we moved up here in, I think it was August of 1970. And I went to Titusville High from 70 to June of 72. And I took right down the hallway here building trades for a couple of years. And they taught us how to lay brick, how to be carpenters, and how to survey. I think there was Mr. Johnson was down there. And that's what I wound up doing after that. I got a job with the road department. And I think it was in 74 with a four-man survey crew. Sorry,
That's okay. You're
I'm
good.
used to it. And I did that for a couple of years. Then I went to work for the Brevard County School Board for a few years. And I think it was in 78 I got a job surveying over on Cape Canaveral. So that was my thing. I started measuring stuff, And I got my license in 89. And, it was always interesting going somewhere and finding how carving somebody's property out of a whole block. You measure it and divide it up and make sure everybody gets the same amount or gets the same taken away from them. It was interesting. But I retired in 2015. My wife made me retire. So
Is that what happened? She made you retire?
She made me retire. Yeah. She was retired, so I didn't want to leave her home alone. So, and then I spent a few years, I guess, doing inspection work, road construction. It's kind of interesting. See them come from the ground up,
I
cool.
like how Frank has kept copious notes. Okay.
Pop does keep some notes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I still rely on him for meteorological information.
It's a nasty habit.
Well,
Someone has to do it,
no. But then everybody knows where to turn. Okay. Frank knows what happened that day. Let's ask him.
Well, that's Judy will say, well, wait, just a minute. Okay, 9 o'clock we went over here and did this. I usually keep track of where we go in the car and stuff. Since I'm retired, I got a lot of extra time on my hands, so try and use that.
Let's be honest, Pop. You've always kept notes like that.
The weather.
I've watched football games with him, and he'll have a note on every play, what time it was, what down it was.
That was only Tampa Bay when they were in the playoffs, and they were struggling.
I mean, impressive notes where you're like, okay, Michael Pittman ran for 5 yards.
No, I was wondering what their method was. Pass, run. Score, whatever.
Tackle by Derek Brooks, loss of 3 yards. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, hey.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
Or the worst things you could do, I guess.
This is true. Yeah, notes are pretty
So
awesome.
Great.
well, I really, the weather part of it, keeping track of the weather, because it's one of my assertions that nobody has a memory. Nobody can. They all talk about it's never been like this before. Well, yeah, it has, but you just don't remember it. And so that would be kind of cool to have that
It's
kind
epic.
of reference to be
Yeah.
able to go back to.
We were looking at things like what this up until April of this year was the most rain Brevard County had ever had since 1991. All kinds of weird stuff like that were just in notes, and we were like, that's pretty flippin' cool to look at.
Oh yeah.
This is more rain than we've had this time at this point in the year for 30 years. I mean, that's pretty neat stuff to be able to look at things like that.
That was your buddy Thad, didn't he?
That was
Doesn't he like
Thad,
to keep notes
Thad
on
keeps,
the rainfall.
Yeah, Thad keeps brutal notes in the rainfall too. It's kind of crazy, but you're right. It's neat to see that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, because people do not remember.
No,
They don't.
No.
It's true.
I can admit I just think it's hotter than it's ever been. It's probably been this hot before, but
Yeah.
you're right. I think you're right.
Well, and the same thing with like hurricanes and stuff. You know,
That's true.
you don't. I mean, the year that we had the 3 storms, I can't remember their names.
Well, we've been dodging that bullet right along now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, when we had the mother of storms headed our way, and then it veered off.
Oh yeah.
Last second
Okay.
there, yeah.
It was supposed to ride the Gulf Stream and just come right into the barrier island, you know. Yeah, everybody was gritting their teeth.
It was right there.
Right.
It was
Yep.
right there.
I
That
think
was-
if it's going to get you, you ain't going to know about it. That's the thing. Think of all of the people that grew up here in Florida that they could tell things were changing, so they found a good tree to lash themselves to.
you can tell more by watching the animals, to be honest with you.
Well-
I mean,
Oh,
as
yeah.
we've seen over
Yeah.
the years.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
a fact. It's a
Yep.
fact.
They can tell you more accurately than any weatherman could ever tell you. It's
Right.
That's very neat.
It's a reason to try and be closer to the earth, isn't it, Frank?
Yep, and you guys over the years have taught me that the all the benefits in wildlife, and being out working with you, Pop, out in the woods, cutting property lines out, and then starting off working with you, Uncle Bill. I mean, you learn about all these different animals and the truly how smart a lot of them are, and how they're always thinking and doing things, and they always seem to have these plans. Some days you go out looking for something and you couldn't find them to save your life, like they're all having a meeting somewhere, and next day you don't expect to see anything and they're all bundled up in a tree looking at you, and it's you think you know something and you realize, hey, you don't know a whole lot. They have their own plans and their own things going on, and they're brilliant. They're all the species are brilliant in their own ways, and if you're lucky enough to learn just a little piece of it, then you've really got something.
Right.
Pretty neat. But yeah, I've every time I think I've seen it all, I definitely realize that I haven't seen anything. Yep, I think that's be kind of the biggest downfall you could possibly have, to think you've seen it all.
Okay, so that brings up an interesting question. You guys, what's the most amazing or surprising thing you've ever seen?
I think I'd have to. We went to work. I think it was off of Highway 46 one morning. We were walking down this line we had cut before, the day before, and there was like a 6 or 7 foot rattlesnake that was curled up on the edge of the trail. And our party chief goes, "Go back to the truck there and get me that iron bar." It was an iron bar we used for the railroad jacks in case we got stuck in the mud. The guy that goes back and gets the rod hands the rod to the party chief. He pulls the rod back to hit this snake and hits the guy in the head. And then he hits it with the snake and kills the snake. And the guy's feet just buckled. And it was so funny to see it. I mean,
He
the guy
paid
come
for
up-
it. He paid
guy
for
come
it.
up, "You cold cocked me. You cold." Get out of the way. That was the most, it's not animal related, but it was kind of.
You got to
At least
gain a little on the draw stroke to really
Yeah.
come down on it.
At least he paid for it. You know
No,
what I
when
mean? He paid
sprung
for
it
killing
back,
that snake.
the guy's legs buckled, luckily, and it just knocked him down. It was unbelievable.
How many times Frank Jr. and me have had somebody, and it's a way that people express themselves, What was it the other day? A snake is a snake. If it crosses my path, that's the end of them. I just kill them, okay?
Yeah.
Well, that's between you and the snake god. What? I said,
So
you'll see.
How about this, Uncle Bill? What was the craziest alligator story you've heard? I can give you mine.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, I mean, I have several, but I had this one lady lived here in Titusville, in La Cita, that she called me one morning and told me that there was a giant gator in her front yard by her mailbox. It was there right now. I had to come get it. And I said, okay, well, it's there right now. You can see it. Yep, I can see it. Well, how big is it? Well, I don't know. I said, well, aren't you looking at it? Yeah, I'm looking at it. Well, how big is it? You said it's in your driveway? Well, it's by my driveway. I said, okay. Well, is it near water? No. I don't know where it's at. And I said, well, I thought you said it was by your driveway. It is by the driveway. What are you not understanding? And I said, ma'am, I guess I'm lost in translation somewhere. So are you looking at the alligator right now? No, it's out by my mailbox. And I said, well, okay, what's it doing out there? It's on a poster board. What are you talking about? And I said, so it's laying in your front yard on a poster board? Sir, there's something wrong with you. I said, ma'am, there's something. Okay. Maybe, I'm sure there probably is. But where is the alligator at right now? She's like, I have no idea where it's at. Okay, so again, is there an alligator in your front yard or not? Yes, it's out there by the mailbox. And we get through all this like it's a 15-minute conversation.
Right. Okay.
There's a set of post office boxes by her mailbox, and someone stapled a picture of an alligator on the wall by the mailboxes
Okay.
that she's never seen, has no idea where it's at, but there's an alligator in the neighborhood that I have to go respond to right now because there's a picture of it.
Because there was a picture of it.
Well,
Yes.
trying to be neighborly, right?
Yikes.
We talked about that the other night.
I lost
to
like
that-
a year off my life with that one, I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
Frank, trying to be reasonable, you know?
Yeah. Good
Couldn't
grief.
just hang up, right?
Yeah. You have a good one like that?
Well, kind of in that vein, went to a new community in Vieira, and of course, there's still new homes popping out of the ground over there,
Surely
east
are.
and west Vieira. They had a similar sign. Okay, sometimes neighborhoods do that. If it's a gated community, it's right there on the guardhouse, you know, for you to beware, and your pets and your children and everything, which, you know, like it's Godzilla in Tokyo, something like that. And I got the lady to take me to where she saw this alligator, because a lot of the neighborhood, it was just half built. So it was a retention area with a wild side to it.
Irritation area?
Yeah, irritation area.
That's our term, yes.
Frank
Yep,
coined
that- yeah,
that. Well, they
that's
have
my pop's
plenty of
term.
experience. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry.
And I said, ma'am, you said when you reported this animal that it was a danger to people and their pets. And she says, yeah, I bring my dog right down here. And I said, okay. Well, was he behaving aggressively? Well, he was staring at me. And I said, all right. Well, how big was he? And she said, you ask a lot of questions. And I said, yes, ma'am. Well, I'm trying to get the gist of what's going on. She said, well, from here over to there, he's about this big. So how big is that? Ma'am, you've been very helpful. I'm
Yeah.
gonna look around. Oh, you know.
Yeah, people sometimes tell you that the alligators out in the pond are swimming in aggressive circles, or they're reading their minds while they're watching them. And
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they know
yeah,
where
I
my
wanna go
kids.
there.
They know
Yeah.
where my kids sleep at night, and they know what room they sleep in. And
Okay.
like, good lord, y'all, alligators don't have that on their mind, or
Yeah,
we'd be in a
just
lot of
keep
trouble.
your thoughts to yourself. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
I got a stalker.
I think one of the probably a real memorable one that stands out in my mind right now is when Frank Jr. was a junior here at Titusville High School. And at that point, you hadn't given it to me yet, but I had a 12-foot Gnu, and Frank Sr. had given me this, was it an old Evinrude or Johnson? The can on that thing was just like a 55-gallon drum. But anyway, it sat on the back of the Gnu and motored you around pretty good. It was 10-horse motor, wasn't it, Frank?
I think so, yeah.
So it really, you could get up on a plane with it. So I took Frank out gator hunting, and we put in at Manatee
Hammock.
Yeah. Don't almost said cove, but that's on the other side
Yeah,
of the
that's a whole different
river.
animal. Yes.
Yeah. There had been, at that time, we still had some shellfish before we got all clammed out. And of course, the river doesn't, or the lagoon doesn't seem suitable for most anything anymore. But at that time, we had a lot of shell fishermen. They had fished out New England, so a lot of them moved here. And my lieutenant said, look, we got some clammers down there that can't seem to do their thing without these gators stalking them. He said, I want you to go out there on the river and find out this particular gator that's bothering them, and take him out of there, and no others. Okay, well, it happens that that's Alligator Central in this particular area where they were clamming, and you can't expect an alligator not to be interested if somebody's getting out of their boat and they're kicking around, they're kicking these oysters or clams up, and then they're scooping them up. I mean, you got crustaceans are probably running over all over, and who knows what kind of fish. So it's an opportunity, and it's like ringing a dinner bell and bringing the water to a boil at the same time for the alligator. He's going to go up there and see what's going on. If you're a hook diver, that's one thing. But if you're a scuba diver, you make lots more bubbles. The alligator considers that flirtatious. Okay? That's what they do when they're in their mating cycle. They nose rub, they blow bubbles up underneath of each other and stuff. Don't look at me like that, Mr.
No,
Curtis.
I had no idea.
Well-
I had no idea that bubbles.
Bubbles
okay.
are a big deal.
Really? That's
Anyway,
idea.
so am I going to go out there? I'm going to tell these guys, hey, look, this is natural behavior. You guys are going to be here plundering the resource. It's going to happen, okay? It's theirs too. I don't hear that crap.
No, they don't,
okay?
yeah.
I said, look, everywhere you looked almost there was an alligator, okay? And there were crab pots all over the place. There were a few other people clamming. And I mean, a lot of them didn't even see an alligator. It might pop its head up behind their boat, see what they're doing. I mean, we've seen this before, right, Frank? And everybody's thinking, man, I got it covered. I'm watching everything.
I mean, they have
and
no idea the gator's like right a foot
when
away
you
from them.
begin to
Yeah.
turn, he sinks or he goes over this way. I mean, it's a beautiful dance.
We watched a boat go down right there in front of Port St. John. Boat going down. The guy's walking all around the boat with a fishing rod fishing, and that gator was in his blind spot the entire time around the boat. I mean, a foot off the boat the entire time watching him. Could have picked him off the boat if he wanted to at any time he wanted. It was
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well,
yeah, anyhow.
anyway, this fella's name was Luigi, the guy I was supposed to see. So I said, well, tell me, Luigi, how am I going to tell this alligator from all these other ones? Okay, and I understand I have to be real careful about language here because it's a very
That's
fine
right.
line.
This is a family-friendly show.
Right, that's right. But colorful to off color, it's pretty
That's
close.
true, yeah, okay.
Anyway, I will paraphrase Luigi. He said, this one, you can't miss it. It looks like a cartoon. He's a cartoon compared to the other. I said, okay, gotcha. He's a cartoon. He said, no, cartoon. He's cartoon. Anyway, when I came out there to get it, Frank was with me, okay? And the gator that I came up with was about a 10-footer, a big 9-footer, which we found is a typical Indian River Lagoon alligator, okay? It's perfect to feed on mullet, horseshoe crabs, an occasional water bird, okay? Anyway, I taught Frank how to catch an alligator with the one-finger method. You remember, Frank?
I do, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm on the bow of the Gnu, which with
I was
two,
actually a freshman.
yeah.
I was a
Were you a
yeah, I was
freshman?
freshman
I
in high
beg your
school.
pardon.
Yeah,
Okay, it was a freshman
That was
alligator trapper too.
First time riding with you.
Uh huh.
Yep.
Well, it was people don't believe this, but it's a religious experience. Getting bit by a big alligator. Everybody
I'd
thinks,
be-
"Oh my gosh, what are you going to do?"
I would definitely be crying out to a deity.
Well, I did not. I tried to bite my tongue and be quiet, but God did speak to me.
I bet.
He said, "Way to go, stupid." Yeah, okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very stupid. Very, very stupid. And the best part of that was when we got out of the predicament, of course, Frank offered first aid. We got back to the boat launch and brought our gator with us. And he had bit me in such a way that it crushed the end of my middle finger and split my fingernail. So it took a couple of months to grow a new fingernail. Of course, it wasn't the nicest thing to look at. You know, the end of your finger just doesn't come apart nicely. It's not pretty. And I guess 4 months later, that was in the spring, and in August, my finger started swelling up again. It looked like a pickle. I'm not kidding you. It looked like a pickle. And I tried to get in to see a hand surgeon, and they said they'd be happy to see me in a couple of weeks. I wasn't going to go to the ER with it because I'd had some other experiences that weren't so pleasant. And so I started soaking it in as hot a water as I could stand with ivory, because an elder trapper that we knew said ivory had more potassium in it. That's what I needed anyway. After a couple of days, my finger opened up. I had some more bone chips come out of there and a lot of other ugly looking stuff. Grew another fingernail, and I know it's a family-friendly show, as you can see. It works pretty good. It's not the best-looking finger, but when you have 10 arthritic fingers, it blends right in,
There you
okay? Anyway, it was memorable for
Yeah.
a lot of reasons. Right, Frank?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it definitely
It's
was.
part of who Frank is today. Frank doesn't use that method.
No, sir. Yeah, praise God, I've never used that method. Yes, thank God, my digits are all working, and yeah, my digits have their own issues, but never had that issue. Thank
Yeah,
goodness. Yeah,
right.
Lord goodness gracious. All right, you guys ready to do some trivia?
I think so.
Okay. All right, let's get in this. You guys can team up on this. It should work out pretty good.
Let's see.
This is Florida history trivia.
Okay.
So, I think maybe between the three of you, you guys can work this out. Number 1, in 1539, who began an expedition in search of gold and silver, which took him on a long trek through Florida and the southeast U.S. for 4 years? He camped for 5 months in Tallahassee and died near the Mississippi River in 1542.
The Vasco da Gama.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a great guess, but no.
DeSoto.
It was.
All right,
It was
Bill.
DeSoto.
Yes,
It was
sir.
DeSoto. Yeah,
Good
indeed.
for you.
Wow.
That was good.
I guess I'll have to read that DeSoto trail marker again
Yeah,
carefully.
there you go.
Number 2, in 1564, a Frenchman, René Guillotin de something French guy,
Yeah.
established Fort what at the mouth of the St. Johns River near present-day Jacksonville?
I think it's got a couple of names, doesn't it?
What was the original name?
Near
Um,
Jacksonville, huh?
Yep, the mouth of the St. Johns River
Yeah,
at
it's on the
Jacksonville.
St. John's.
It's a woman's name. I don't know.
Yep.
It is. It is.
I know what it is.
It is.
What is it?
It's Fort Caroline.
It is
Okay.
Fort Caroline.
All right.
Way to go, Mr. Curtis.
Yeah, good
Because
job,
it was
guys.
established before St. Augustine,
It was.
but
Yeah.
it didn't last.
It didn't
Yeah.
take. Yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
I know the fort names there. That's going to help me a lot.
Oh, but they call it something else now, though. When the Spanish rebuilt it, they called it.
We'll get to that in a second.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a whole other question.
go.
We'll get to that.
Come on, Frank.
Yes.
I'm not doing that good.
No, you knew it was a woman's name. You were right there.
That's right.
Yeah,
I-
right there.
I remembered that.
Number 3.
What does Caroline mean in French?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay.
All you French majors out there, come on.
Yeah, no, Alex doesn't know.
Alex,
any
do you know the answer to
Could
that
you
one?
Alex doesn't know any French.
Okay. Number 3. Whom from Spain hurried across the Atlantic, arriving in 1565 at a place he called St. Augustine, establishing the first permanent settlement in the U.S.? Whom from Spain hurried
Spain.
across the Atlantic,
So,
arriving in 1565 at a place he called St. Augustine, establishing the first permanent settlement in the U.S.?
so that's the guy who was looking for the Fountain of Youth.
No, it's not
It-
Ponce
no.
de Leon,
No.
is
Yes,
it?
it's
Nope,
not. It's
it
not
is not.
Ponce de Leon.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
that was
this is
my-
that's
No, this-
50 years later. That
Oh,
was
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
1565. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
You stumped this chump.
who
don't
was it?
know.
That's Pedro Mendez.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God. How could I forget that?
Yeah.
The Menendez brothers.
Me and Pedro,
that's
yeah.
them, yeah.
Yeah, that's the ones. Yeah.
Number 4. Mendez captured Fort Caroline and renamed it what? So there you go, Pop.
Manatanasis or something?
Matanzas.
Matanzas,
Fort
yeah.
Matanzas.
Nope, you're close.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah, Matanzas is further
Yep,
down.
Matanzas
Oh, is
is
it?
Yeah, it's
kinda
St.
inland.
Augustine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's,
St.
it's
Augustine.
inland
Okay.
too, yeah.
What was it?
Mendez captured Fort Caroline and renamed it what?
What did he name it?
Carolina?
San Mateo.
Okay.
Oh, really?
San
Yeah, San
Mateo.
Mateo.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know, that's right around the corner from my house on Sisson.
That's true. It is.
Well, what is
It
that?
is. That's
I wonder
true.
what San Mateo means in Spanish. What's the
I don't know. We got to
translation?
figure out
I
what
think it's,
Caroline means and San Mateo
I think it
means.
might be St. Mark.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That
I
makes
think it might
sense.
be.
All right.
Number 5. In 1586, what English captain looted and burned the tiny village of St. Augustine? It's Sir something, Sir.
Say what
Yeah.
now?
In 1586, what English captain looted and burned the tiny village of St. Augustine?
I think I know.
Sir somebody. Sir.
Is it Walter Raleigh?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay. No, it was not. Huh.
That once in John Smith, was it?
Sir
Sir.
Francis.
Drake,
Indeed. Sir
Oh,
Francis
wow.
Drake. Indeed.
thanks
Yeah.
for the help,
Yeah,
Frank.
yes, sir.
There
Yeah,
you go.
happy
All right.
to help. Happy to help.
That's
Wow.
worth $20.
Number 7? Number 6? Number 7? I don't know. In 1898, national attention focused on Florida as what began?
What year?
In 1898, national attention focused on Florida as what began?
The Seminole Indian War, the first one?
Nope.
1898, you said?
1898.
Statehood? No,
Nope.
that was much earlier. That was earlier.
It's a
Yeah.
war. Just imagine what
Oh,
war.
the Spanish-American War.
Indeed, it was Spanish-American
Yeah,
War.
that was a fun one.
Oh, yeah, Cuba and all
That's a
that.
long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah.
What city served as the primary staging area for U.S. troops bound for the war in Cuba?
Miami.
Negative.
I don't think Miami was much of a port.
Oh,
then.
you mean the earlier war against Cuba?
Yeah, 1898.
Yeah,
Okay.
1898. Yep.
That would have been
What city served as a primary staging area for U.S. troops bound for that war, which was the Spanish-American War in 1898?
right.
In Cuba.
I get the question. It was
Do you know that one, Pop?
Jacksonville's too far away.
Do you know?
no.
Do you know that
It's
one,
in
Pop?
the Tampa area. It's
It was-
also
it was
a place
Tampa.
where they was it.
It was Tampa.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, I
okay.
was thinking of the actual landing where they shipped the cattle and everything out of. Okay, it was kind of a little south of there.
Yeah.
I just told you about a book I was reading by that title, so there's no excuse for it. Just heavy toxification. Sorry.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Well, it must be.
Gee.
Well, I love you guys. Thank you all for being here.
Oh, thanks for having
Did you
us.
guys have fun?
I'm not so sure fun's the correct verb. But it was
I-
good.
Yeah,
Good.
I appreciate you and Mr. Curtis being so tolerant, okay, and inclusive.
Yeah.
We've dealt with a lot of great people.
Yeah,
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 so
we've
have a
had
lo-
a lot of interesting stories, and you guys are right up there with them.
Yeah, we've had a lot of great people and a lot of great guests, and you guys are actually you're finishing out this season, season 1.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
I want to thank Mr. Curtis and all his students that pitched in to make this possible too. We couldn't have done it without you.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're happy to do it.
This is where it all happens.
Yep.
Now I know.
Indeed.
You know, when I watch this podcast, I'll know where it all happened.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Alex, thanks.
All right. I guess this is what you have anything crazy going on over the summer?
No, just traveling. Going to be in Texas most of June.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
East or West Texas?
A little of both. I have 2 daughters that live in Killeen, Texas. So I'm
Okay.
going to go there. And my son and his family live in El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, wow.
way out west. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when does school come back?
Teachers report August 2nd.
August 2nd.
Kids are back August 9th or 10th. The 10th.
Okay. Well, I'm going to St. Augustine to move Chance tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I get to go up there and catch my boy, and move him to a new wild area. He's out in general population starting tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So
We'll
let's,
see how
wish
he
him
does.
wish him some luck and send him on his way and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's
I'm sure he'll do good.
being a Chicago transplant, he'll probably wail.
Yeah, he'll do fine. Yeah,
Put that-
he'll hold his own.
Put that red bow tie back on him so you can see him in the crowd.
I might have to. He's getting big and looking like everybody else now. It's
Maybe a red and a blue bow tie.
Yep,
do
no
his,
doubt about it.
Do his toenails or something, you know?
Okay, maybe
There we
it's a
go.
good idea. All right, thank you guys for tuning in this season. We're having an event. We're having different educational programs all through the summer at your different libraries. You can go over to our website and check that out, EEARSS.org. And November the 19th, Years of the Environment event, Sandpoint Park. Hope to see you guys there. All right, we'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.